Hey, fellow Restopians, welcome back to Restopia. So, half links are not what they seem. I think that's going to be the title. I did a video a while back about Grand Seiko. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek, it was a bit of a joke, saying that it does actually have micro adjust. Now, it doesn't have micro adjust. And in that video, I said that if you just bought, because what people call half links, which I'm going to try very hard in this video to call part links, they're not actually half a link. So that causes problems, and problems that I think with this watch in particular, I've done some paperwork here, I've done some figures to show you how I feel that thinking that they're half links means that a lot of people are probably wearing a watch that doesn't fit them as well as it could. And the reason that I've got the Omega Speedmaster Professional here is that the full links and part links on this, are the same dimension as the Tissot, but this does have two options on the micro adjust. So obviously some watches do have micro adjust, say that might have 4 or 6, but really that micro adjust is there to use to adjust on the fly if your wrist swells or shrinks, so that you can adjust that. It shouldn't be there to make the watch fit you as well as it can. You should, I feel, make the watch fit you as well as you can without using that. So that's why I've got that. So these to measure the distances, so you're going to have to do this. These have the same size full links and part links as each other, but you're going to have to do this on your individual watch. And the way I measure the size that the link, removing or replacing links, how that affects the size of your watch is by measuring from center to center of the screws. It's actually easier to measure from one side to one side of the screws. Now I'm not going to measure these too accurately, but I measure this one as 9mm, and the half link, or the part link. See, it's so easy to do. The part link, although it does look like half the size of that, but when you actually measure it to the next one, it's actually about 6mm. Now let's just assume that this is 6mm and this is 9mm. Assume. Let's just take that as read. It's about, I'm not going to do it amazingly accurately. I think actually, no, I am going to do it amazingly accurately because it's annoying me now. The reason that you don't measure, am I still on camera? The reason that you don't measure the actual link is because you're then not accounting for the gap in between. Is that about right? So it's 6mm. You're not accounting for the gap in between. So anyway, I only showed you this because it's got the same size, the same size full link and part link. And just to show you another watch where they do actually look like half links, but when you measure them, they're not. So let's focus now purely on the Tissot, which doesn't have any micro adjust. So it's imperative that you get this to fit you as well as you can, and I'm suggesting that you get every watch you have to fit you as well as you can, with aiming to have the micro adjust in kind of the middle of its range. Not be wearing a watch that has like a 4-position micro adjust fully open or fully closed, because that doesn't give you anywhere to go and it's kind of defeating the object. So with this one, I've got 2 full links taken out of this and it fits me really well. I feel I'm really lucky with that. It means the clasp is dead center and it just does fit me very well. I can pop this on and off in multiple. I don't particularly find that it's too bad. There's nothing I could do. I mean, I'm certainly not going to take any tools around with me, and if it's a hot day, I'm going to start fiddling around with links. The links that I've taken out are in the box and I'm not going to revisit that. But let me just give you an example of this, and hopefully you'll see that this makes sense. Now, I've kind of had a bit of a eureka moment today in doing this. Cover those up. Now, what I suggest you do, very, very simply, you measure the difference in sizing between your full link and part link. And not all watches have part links, but if they do, and you measure that, and then you simply work out every single one of the possible combinations of taking out that you can do. On this Tissot, which we're using as the example, it goes from making it 3mm smaller, and then you can just keep going. But it goes up in 3mm increments, or effectively goes down in 3mm increments. You're making it 3mm smaller each time. To do that first one, I would say you'd have to take out 2 part links and add in a full link. But obviously, you'd have to buy another full link to do that. So, but you could make this 3mm smaller if you really had to. If that was important to you, you'd get another full link from Tissot, and you'd do that, and it'd be 3mm. But let's say, I mean, that's unlikely. Normally, people need it more than 3mm smaller. So basically, anywhere from 6 going up. I've gone up to 36 here, but we're concentrating on 30. You can just go up or go down in size by 3mm. So that's all your options. All you've simply done is you've worked out what all your options are. And what that means is, you might be thinking, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that to make a watch fit me. I'll just play around with it until it fits. But let's say you did that. Let's say you took out, you made 18mm. You took out 18mm worth of links. I haven't written here what combination of link removal you'd need to do to get this, because that would make it overly complicated. But that's your options. Let's say you took out 18mm. You got the watch on, and it's a bit tight, so you need it a bit looser. So then you look on there and you think, well, I can have it 3mm looser. So, and then you change it to whatever that said. Or if it's a bit loose still and you needed it a bit tighter, you look on there and you say, well, I can have that 3mm tighter. And then you do whatever that is. Now, I think at this point, you're probably thinking, well, I don't need to do that. Why do I need to do that? Now, over here is what I would suggest. In reality, if you don't do that, in reality, the sizing options that you're gonna come, a lot of people will come to. And remember, it's not always you that's taking the links in and out. It's the shop. They're not going to care. They're just going to say, right, a bit loose, a bit tighter. They'll do what I think they're going to do, and a lot of people are going to do what I've done to get these options. Now, if you look between 6 and 30 here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options. If you look between 6 and 30 here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you've got 50%, 6. You've got 50% more options here. You've got an extra 50% more options here than you have here. Now, I'm going to say why I've come up with these 6. I'm going to just quickly show you what I think people will do with this watch that gets this and not this. And then you can say, well, yeah, I agree with that. That makes sense. Or no, it doesn't. Right. So let's go. If you think these are half links and it's a bit too big, you're going to take out half a link. So you'll take out half a link, which is going to be 6mm smaller. If it's still too big, you're going to need 1 link out. So you've already got half a link out. The sensible thing to do, if they were half links, would indeed be to take the other half link out, because then the clasp is still central, 1 half link from each side. But what you've actually done there, you've made it 12mm smaller, so you've missed out the 9mm option. It's still too big. You're going to take out 1.5 links. You're going to have no option but to take out, or what you think is 1.5 links, or what the shop thinks is 1.5 links. You're going to have to take out 1.5 link, which is going to be 15mm smaller. Still too big. So I need to take out 2 links. Now, if you've got 1.5 out, to get 2 links out, I'm sure that some people would just take the other half link back out again. Because, half plus 1 equals 2. So if you want 2 links out, you'd do that. But what you're actually taking out there is 21mm. If you'd put, and admittedly on this watch, it would be more sensible to put the half links back in and take out 2 full links, which is actually 18mm, to keep the clasp central. But as I say, people in shops might be too lazy to do that. If you've got 1.5 out, the easiest thing to do is just to pop another half out, isn't it? That's the quickest thing, and that's probably what they'll do in the shop. And it might be what some people will do. Some people might not give the monkeys whether the clasp is central or not. So if you did that, you've actually missed out the 18mm and you've gone straight to 24. If you need 2.5 link, if it's still too tight, and I appreciate that you're not going to be doing this as I'm explaining doing it, but you are still going to be in a position where it's too tight and you're then taking another link out. So although you might not do every stage of this, whatever stage you're at, you might just do the next thing. You might do it exactly as I'm explaining it here now. So 2 links out, or what you think is two links, but it's actually 1 whole link and 2 2/3 links. So 2 links out, it's still too tight. 2.5 links. So again, the only option there, as with 1.5 links, is you have to take 2 full links out and 1 half link out, which is indeed 24. Still too tight. Need to take more out. You've got 2.5 links out. You're back to the same situation we were at earlier. You've got 2.5 links out. To get to 3 links, potentially you or the shop is going to just take out another half link. Now, because 2 plus 2 halves equals 3. So, but that is actually 30 mil. So you've missed out the 27. So I hope that, I didn't want to kind of, make it too complicated, but I hope you can see that this scenario is very realistic for sizing this watch. And you've missed out on 50%. You could have had 50% more size increments than doing it this way. So I would suggest the only way to size your watch properly is to get a piece of paper and measure your, you don't have to use a vernier caliper. You can just use a ruler, a plastic ruler. It will still give you, in fact, in some ways, a plastic ruler is actually better than the vernier calipers. I mean, you've got the, you've got millimeters here. Let's say we started at 100. Sometimes it's easier just to line that up. That is coming out at 6. Let's go from 100. You can't really see what I'm doing. That's going from 100 to 106, which is showing me that is indeed 6 mil. It's probably easier to use a ruler than it is to use the vernier calipers. But if you did that and then just wrote down, it's foolproof. There's no way you can make a mistake, because you will know exactly what size it needs to be, if it's too big or too small, and what link combination you need to take out for it to be that size. But doing it kind of this way, and again, if the shop's doing it this way, that watch is not going to fit you. So there's going to be loads of people, I think, walking around wearing a Tissot Gentleman that just doesn't fit them as well as it could do, because they or the shop have done this and not this. And as I say, this should be done even if you have a watch with 2, 3, 4 positions of micro adjust, because you don't want to be relying on those micro adjust positions to get a good fit. Those are there so that you can adjust it on the fly when your wrist size changes, gets warmer, go on holiday. You're not going to be messing around with links. But yeah, does that make sense? Have I missed anything? Did I get anything wrong? Please let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I hope that's been helpful. I think, as I said, I'm going to revisit my Grand Seiko, because I think this is the way that it's foolproof. You cannot make it fit you any better than this. And then the micro adjust, which a Grand Seiko doesn't have, the micro adjust, obviously it does also depend on what the differences is between the full link and the part link. And you may find that, as I said in the Grand Seiko video, that actually purchasing more part links might actually give you a better fit. But this on the Tissot is done, apart from the first one, as I've said, this on the Tissot is done with using what you've got here. I'm going to revisit the Grand Seiko, make sure I didn't make any mistakes, and see if that watch actually, it's, what have I got it at the moment? I think I would have it too loose, because I'd rather wear a watch loose than too tight. So I'm going to revisit that watch, do this, and see if I can improve on it. But I think this needs I need a name for this. I need a name for this this formula, because I think it's foolproof. But yeah, let me know what you think. One wrist, live it. Whee.